With the capture of renegade Sith Lord Darth Maul, the siege of Mandalore had been completed, and Republic troops were arresting the last members of Maul's warriors. Bo-Katan Kryza and former Jedi Padawan Ahsoka Tano watch from afar, regretting the destruction caused. They are interrupted by Commander Rex, who informs Ahsoka that the Jedi Council wish to speak to her. The Council are discussing their suspicions of the Chancellor and the dark side surrounding him, when Ahsoka and Rex walk into the communication center. Ahsoka confirms her success in capturing Maul, and wishes to speak to Anakin, but Master Windu had dispatched him to inform the Chancellor of their search of Grievous, depriving Ahsoka of one of the only Jedi she could trust. The Jedi continue to talk about the Chancellor, but Master Windu refuses to inform Ahsoka, as she was no longer a Jedi, and merely a citizen. 3 Jedi Council members depart the meeting, leaving Ahsoka with Grandmaster Yoda. Yoda asks Ahsoka if she had anything more to say, to which Ahsoka said she would wait until she saw Anakin. But what if Ahsoka had told the Council about Anakin? How would the knowledge she had gained from Maul impact their decisions? As you're about to find out, what Ahsoka is going to tell Yoda will lead to a seismic shift in events to follow. The other holograms of the Council members started to leave, and Ahsoka had the chance to speak to Grandmaster Yoda. Instead of saving it for later, Ahsoka tells Yoda about Maul's visions of Anakin, and Sidious wanting Anakin to become his new apprentice. A normally calm Yoda is visibly distressed. This was worse than they could have imagined. Ordering Ahsoka and Rex to wait for his return, Yoda hurries off to the Jedi Temple hangar, where he knew Anakin would return. As he arrives, he sees Anakin talking to Master Windu, and leapt between the two of them. Windu wants to send a group of Jedi to arrest Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, but Yoda denies his request. Windu argues that the longer they kept him alive, the more likely it would be that millions would continue to suffer, but he failed to see Yoda's plan. Yoda led Anakin back to the communications room, where Anakin sees Ahsoka and Rex for the first time since she had left for Mandalore. Ahsoka tells her former master of the plans of Sidious, and Anakin felt it to be true. Asking to speak to Ahsoka alone, without Master Yoda, Anakin reveals the nightmares he had been having about Padme. Ahsoka is quick to connect the nightmares to the Sith Lord, and as long as he was close to Sidious, the nightmares would remain. Allowing Yoda to re-enter the meeting, the Grandmaster decides that they should wait for Maul's arrival back on Coruscant before proceeding any further with the arrest of Palpatine. But suddenly, Yoda sensed a great wave of pain in the Force. All of them looked at the Grandmaster with great concern, and Anakin soon felt it too. The losses of Kit Fisto, Aegon Kolan Saizit in. Yoda and Anakin want to go and intervene, but they had to be patient, unlike Master Windu. As long as Anakin did not go, Palpatine would be unable to make his next move. News soon broke around the Jedi Temple of the demises of the 3 Jedi, as well as the escape of Palpatine. Master Windu soon hobbled back towards them, his robes singed and ripped. After a duel through the Chancellor's office, Mace Windu managed to disarm Palpatine. The Sith Lord was able to use his extensive force powers to create a burst of force energy, launching both of them in opposite directions, and allowing Palpatine to escape through the window. Windu is adamant that had Yoda arrived, they would have ended the war. Yoda is disappointed that Mace Windu still failed to see that Anakin was the key, as he was now becoming annoyed at Yoda and Anakin for revealing the news about Chancellor Palpatine to a citizen like Ahsoka. Their intense argument is interrupted by Obi-Wan, who has just defeated General Grievous. Obi-Wan sides with Yoda, Anakin and Ahsoka in waiting for Maul, and Master Windu has to comply. At least it would give him some time to recover. Ahsoka and Rex bid a temporary farewell, as Bo-Katan and the Mandalorian warriors have completed their arrests, and Maul is in a Mandalorian cage. Bo-Katan shows her gratitude for Ahsoka's efforts, and the Republic forces depart Mandalore with Maul. Travelling through hyperspace, Ahsoka contacts Anakin again, but he's nowhere to be found in the Jedi Temple. Commander Rex changes the line of connection to Senator Amidala. Padme is surprised to see Ahsoka and Rex, and is grateful for their company as Anakin was beside her. Whereas Anakin had showed signs of being his former self just a few moments ago, Ahsoka had never seen Anakin like this. An Anakin who was unsure of himself and conflicted. They all tried to reassure Anakin that Padme was in perfect health, but Anakin continued to be stressed. Ahsoka's cruiser could not arrive on Coruscant fast enough for her liking, and eventually, Rex and herself used one of many gunships to fly to Padme's apartment. Looking for Anakin from the outside, Ahsoka had a bad feeling. Entering the apartment, Padme and C-3PO rush out and tell them that Anakin had gone in his starfighter with R2-D2. Ahsoka and Rex bring the Senator and Protocol droid on board and fly to the Jedi Temple hangar. Ahsoka runs to Master Yoda, who was walking towards her. The look of concern on Ahsoka's face told him all he needed to know, and he ordered all of the Jedi present to search for Anakin. Yoda jumped into his own spaceship and led the trailing pack, some on the ground and some in the air. The hunt for Anakin had started. Yoda continued to scour the galactic city, now joined by Obi-Wan, who had returned from Utapau. More and more Jedi join their hunt for Anakin and Palpatine, but neither are anywhere to be found. The Jedi were chasing shadows, just as they had been doing throughout the Clone War. However, former Jedi Padawan Ahsoka Tano had moved away from the Jedi's pursuit of Anakin, and had chosen her own route. After seeing the Jedi and clones sweeping the planets multiple times, Ahsoka left Commander Rex with Senator Amidala and C-3PO, then grabbed a passing speeder to fly to Coruscant's military prison, where Maul had been transported to. Dismissing the guards outside of the secure cell, Ahsoka freed Maul from his cage, but kept her lightsaber pointed to his throat at all times. It was time to think about the offer presented by the Zabrak of defeating Sidious together. Maul lists a number of locations where Sidious would likely be located, and they find their way out, but Ahsoka stops, as she senses her own wave of pain in the Force. This was far greater than what Yoda or Anakin had felt when the 3 Jedi Masters had fallen. All around her, clones began to gather, and she was in grave danger. Little did she know that Order 66 had begun. Ahsoka uses all of her lightsaber skills to take out the clones, whereas Maul, even without his lightsaber, was able to use his dark side powers to eliminate the clones. Ahsoka not only had Anakin to worry about, but also Rex and Padme. She had no choice but to leave Maul to continue his destruction. Ahsoka spotted Rex, and several members of the 501st charging towards her, as she was running back towards her ship. Picking up a fallen blaster rifle, she made sure to stun all of her troopers, picking up Rex, and finding C-3PO desperately waving from the outside of her ship. Ahsoka is slightly slowed by the weight of Rex, but she makes it back unharmed. With Padme's birth of her children imminent, Ahsoka had no time to choose a hospital that would have the least hostilities, and she went straight for the Grand Republic Medical Facility. On her way, Padme has to renew the stun on Rex, as he had recovered from Ahsoka's first stun, and Ahsoka had to dodge the fire from the clone troopers from below. The ship just makes the short distance to the facility, skidding to a halt in a large hallway. Clearing her level of the clone troopers, Ahsoka carries Rex and Padme to separate medical bays, where Padme is tended to by medical droids, and Rex is assisted by an astromech droid and Ahsoka. Following the discovery of the true nature of the inhibitor chips, Ahsoka had located and helped extract Rex's chip, and at last, she had someone who could fight alongside her. But if she thought she could make it back to Padme's medical bay, more clones had arrived to block her path. The corridor separating the bays did not suit Ahsoka and Rex, as they faced a relentless cycle of clones from all directions. Soon Ahsoka lost one of her blades, and she used a reverse grip to deflect the hits. The clones continue to arrive, and soon they are pinned into an empty medical bay. The blasters all click in unison, and the clones declare their time to be at an end. Ahsoka and Rex were exhausted, but still determined. To Ahsoka's surprise, the clones suddenly thinned, and looking behind the pack of clones, she is relieved to see Obi-Wan. The Jedi Master had managed to avoid the assault from his own 212th Battalion, and had heard the echoed screams of death from afar. With the addition of Obi-Wan, they avoided death for now. Finally, they get to enter Padme's medical bay, where Padme was so tired that she had slept through the noise of the battle, with Luke and Leia beside her. Waking up to see Obi-Wan, Ahsoka and Rex, she looked around in hope rather than expectation for Anakin. Sitting up on her bed, Padme was already planning how to get Anakin back. Obi-Wan admired the ambition, but he was skeptical. He had felt Anakin's presence ebbing away, and at this moment, it was very faint, teetering between light and dark. Exiting the medical bay, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka felt a wave of darkness wash over them, unnoticed throughout the battle. Finding the nearest window, they look out and see Sidious's shuttle floating beneath them to an entrance below. They did not sense Anakin, so they needed to get out. Rex carries the twins in a makeshift cot. Ahsoka picked up the lightsaber she had lost earlier, and they clamber through the mess to their stranded ship. Firing up the thrusters, the battered gunship sputters into life, and they back out of the building, resulting in the loud noises of broken glass and rubble. Nonetheless, the clones are too busy watching events on the ground to notice, and Obi-Wan takes the chance to contact for any surviving Jedi. Thankfully, Master Yoda had made it, and looked ashamed with his failure to stop the downfall of the Jedi, but Padme retorted that there was still the chance to save Anakin. Yoda tells Obi-Wan that he would have further training for him if they were successful, and then apologised to Ahsoka for the mistakes of the Jedi Order, before fading into his exile. Ahsoka uses the location suggested by Maul, and they felt Mustafar was the one which presented the best chance of finding Anakin. There was still hope for the light. The trip to Mustafar is free of clone intervention, but approaching the planet, their path is blocked by Republic gunships. The clones fire, and despite Ahsoka's excellent piloting skills, the already battered ship becomes a small fireball. Ahsoka manages to wrestle the ship to a landing on a rocky hillside, but the ship is out of action. To add insult to injury, neither Obi-Wan nor Ahsoka could sense Anakin. Stepping out of the wreckage, The passengers are led by Obi-Wan. The clones are far away from their position, and they head towards an industrial building. They all can smell the rotting of bodies over the fumes of the mining complex, and stepping into a large meeting room, the bodies of the Separatist Council were spread across the floor. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka looked at the wounds, sometimes needing to step on corpses to find a way through. The wounds all pointed towards Anakin, but something was different. Carefully examining the room, they find nothing out of the ordinary for a Separatist war room, until the voice of Palpatine echoed through the room. Although he was not present, the voice was enough to send chills through their spines, as he declared all Jedi to be enemies of the Republic, and to be hunted down at all costs. Obi-Wan is not surprised, having seen their clones turn upon them, but he was beginning to lose faith in Anakin. All of a sudden, alarms go off, as C-3PO accidentally nudges a red button, and the room starts to flash red. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka rush out with their lightsabers, and see clones converging from above and across the lava. They needed to find transport quickly. Obi-Wan force pushes a group of descending clones into a valley of lava, and he has the foresight to take their ascension cables. Giving one to each member of the group, they attach themselves to a pillar and swing across the lava, with C-3PO being lifted by the Force. Engaging more battalions of clone troopers, their transport begins to fly away, as the clones can see that all they wanted to do is escape. Rex helps Obi-Wan by giving Luke and Leia to Padme, whereas Ahsoka tries to find a way to steal a gunship, but there are too many clones in her way. Ahsoka stands on top of a rock and tries to pull a departing ship back towards her with the Force, as Obi-Wan stands in front of her to block the blaster hits. However, the clones soon shot the rock beneath Ahsoka, and she slid down towards a river of lava. Obi-Wan takes over from Ahsoka and pulls the ship back, leaving Rex to defend. As exceptional as Rex was, he was quickly outmatched, having to be saved by a recovering Ahsoka. Obi-Wan is able to knock out most of the clones with their own ship, and they all climb aboard. Rushing to the controls, they fly away to the sound of clones hitting the underside of the ship. Thanks to C-3PO, they were now the primary target of Emperor Palpatine's new empire. Anakin was their only hope. Choosing a lesser known route to avoid any enemies, they find that like Mustafar, the airspace over Coruscant was well fortified. Their ship quickly gets noticed, and the skeptical voice of a communication officer soon reached their ears. Obi-Wan takes charge, and replies that there were Jedi returning back to Coruscant, much to the shock of everyone on board. Obi-Wan had known that Palpatine was searching for the surviving Jedi, and if they were being hunted, they would use this to their advantage. The ship is allowed to pass through, and land near one of the stops of the Senate shuttle bus. Telling Padme and C-3PO to look after Luke and Leia, the combatants go to find Anakin, his presence close by. Ahsoka is frustrated that they had missed out on Anakin earlier by making the trip to Mustafar, but together, they move closer to the Senate building. Jumping onto the rooftop, they cut a small hole to assess the situation. It was not what they had expected. Sidious and Anakin were currently dueling Maul and Master Windu, the Master of the Jedi Order somehow surviving Order 66. Cutting open a larger hole to enter the fight, the roof is not as strong as anticipated, and they fall through, landing in separate Senate pods. Obi-Wan goes to help Master Windu, whereas Ahsoka tries to turn Anakin back to the light. Rex also wanted to fight, but he knew better than to battle Force users. Thinking about General Skywalker, he thought of one idea which may help their cause. Back to the duels in the Senate, Sidious and Anakin were not fazed by the additions to their opposition, using their unique environment to push Senate pods across the room. Obi-Wan was soon isolated with Sidious, and a Sith Lord duly sent the tired Jedi Master tumbling to the surface below. Obi-Wan grimaced in pain, but he saw a light above him. The light grew larger in size as he saw Padme's ship. The ship landed, and Padme got into one of the Senate pods with Luke and Leia, then pleaded with Anakin to stop. Everyone turned to look at Padme, including Sidious, who did not allow them time to react, sending force lightning towards her pod. Padme ducked, fearing the worst for herself and her children. However, the attack was blocked by Anakin, sending the attack back towards Sidious. The Sith Lord was caught off guard and tumbled to the floor next to Obi-Wan and the mortally wounded Maul. The injured Jedi Master promptly decapitated the Sith Lord, ending potentially years of suffering. For the Jedi, they needed to change were they to thrive again. That is it for What If Ahsoka Told the Council about Anakin. If you enjoyed this, please like this video, turn on that notification bell, and if you are new to this channel or my other channel, subscribe for more What Ifs. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.